Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're taking a look at a very spicy Pokemon in the Open Ultra League, XL Level 51 GLALIE. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Czar Alexander, so many thanks for the battle submission. GLALIE is a pure Ice-type Pokemon with the moveset of Ice Shard, Avalanche, and Shadow Ball. So it does have the same charge moves as Froslass, but of course the fast move is Ice Shard compared to the faster energy generation of Powder Snow. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Level 51 GLALIE in action in the Open Ultra League. Hopping into the first match, picking up a tough lead Chestnut into Shadow Drapion. Definitely not a great matchup for the Chestnut. The Chestnut will be able to outpace the Drapion, making a superpower before Drapion makes a Sludge Bomb. This is going to hit for a lot of damage if it lands, which it does, and now in comes Wall Rain. The goal of the Wall Rain save switch is to absorb energy and check and see if the opponent has a good counter to Ice types lurking in the back. And judging by the fact that they're staying in with Drapion, they either don't have one or they're trying to keep it hidden. Opponent lets the Drapion go, and in comes Shadow Poliwrath, and it is very nice to see the Poliwrath here. Poliwrath would absolutely shred through GLALIE, so it's definitely good that it's going up against the Wall Rain. Opponent is going to shield up the Earthquake. The opponent is not switch locked, whereas the Chestnut will have to stay in here for a bit longer. We're going to see Poliwrath bait with a power-up punch and grab a shield. That is extremely unfortunate. It looks like this Poliwrath is running power-up punch and Scald. These boosted counters are absolutely no joke, as now we see this Chestnut getting close to the red health. Poliwrath commits the shield. It's another CMP tie, and we're going to see, can Chestnut survive and make it to the Frenzy Plant? No, but a superpower is going to hit very hard onto the Shadow Poliwrath. Superpower does get the knockout in the back. It's Cresselia, and Cresselia meet XL GLALIE. GLALIE does have access to Shadow Ball, which will hit for super effective damage here. Cresselia goes for the Moonblast. That does absolutely nothing to GLALIE. GLALIE able to withstand that damage and return fire with the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball connects, and it looks like GLALIE should be able to emerge victorious here, as two moves from the Cresselia is not going to KO the GLALIE, whereas GLALIE is able to make it to Shadow Ball number 2. This will be able to take down Cresselia and secure the win. Moving into the next match, and we've got the battle of grass fighting types, Chestnut versus Virizion. Virizion is typically going to be the preferred grass fighting type, just due to the fact that the double kick Sacred Sword combination is absurdly strong. Virizion is going to fire off that Sacred Sword. We see the no shield from the Chestnut, who will return fire with the superpower. Superpower connects. We now see a switch into the Wall Rain. Opponent farming up and throwing their charge move on very good timing just before the Wall Rain makes the Icicle Spear. It's the Leaf Blade. Opponent now going to send in Ampharos, and Wall Rain building up past the Earthquake, baiting with the Icicle Spear. Decision time for the opponent, and the opponent will commit the shield. They look for the farm down, and unfortunately they do get it. This Ampharos has so much energy. The question is, are they running Focus Blast? Tough call to make. Chestnut lets it go. They are not. They are running Trailblaze. Trailblaze, probably Trailblaze and Brutal Swing would be my guess. And the opponent is now going to go for the boosted Brutal Swing. Continuing to farm up with the Chestnut. Chestnut going for the Frenzy Plant, trying to get rid of the Ampharos. Ampharos is going to no shield. We know they still have the Virizion, but the Chestnut able to hang on, make it to the superpower. This is going to hurt. We see the final shield from the opponent. In comes GLALIE, and GLALIE is going to have to respect the Sacred Sword. Opponent actually goes for a Leaf Blade here. GLALIE looking for the farm down, and in the back, it's a Shadow Wall Rain and up a shield. GLALIE is looking great. Shadow Ball connects. That does a solid amount of damage, but it looks like with the Ice Shards, a second Shadow Ball may be enough to KO here. Tough call to make. GLALIE lets it go, and it's the Icicle Spear bait from the opponent. They're just going to now start spamming out Icicle Spears, as GLALIE is able to withstand that damage. What a no shield there, calling the bait. Shadow Ball connects. We see a switch into the Chestnut to snipe with a Vine Whip, and one Ice Shard from the GLALIE will be able to secure the knockout onto Virizion. Picking up a great lead in the next match, Chestnut into Tapu Fini. Opponent save switches into Giratina, and Giratina will be answered by GLALIE. Now, GLALIE, as opposed to Froslass, is a pure Ice type. The opponent goes for the Shadow Sneak, maybe thinking it is like Froslass with that Ghost subtyping, but this is a pure Ice type Pokemon. Avalanche does so much damage to the Giratina, and GLALIE can comfortably no-shield this Dragon Claw and farm down. The opponent goes for another Shadow Sneak. Shadow Sneak and Dragon Claw, when both are neutral, do the exact exact same amount of damage, but Shadow Sneak just costs more energy, so there's not a reason to go for Shadow Sneak in neutral situations. Shadow Ball is going to connect. Tapu Fini gets the farm down. Back in comes Chestnut. Chestnut now at a pretty severe energy disadvantage, so Chestnut is going to have to shield up the Moonblast. Opponent is going to look to switch, and it's Cresselia in the back, and this is going to be a bit tough, but the Frenzy Plant lands. The Frenzy Plant landing is definitely good. Farming up, we see a switch into the Walrein as the opponent fires off their charge move, and it is going to be the Future Sight. That's a very, very nice catch. Continuing to farm up with the Walrein, and Walrein should be able to tank a Grass Knot from here. This is the Ultra League, so Walrein does have added bulk that it does not have in the other leagues. Walrein farming up past the Earthquake. Decision time for the opponent. They've held onto their shields until this point, and they finally start to use them. They will commit the shield. We see a switch by the opponent as they send in Tapu Fini into the loaded Earthquake. Earthquake not quite gonna KO, but one Powder Snow after will. Walrein able to make it to the Icicle Spear, refusing to get KO'd. Opponent kind of has to no shield here, and they do, but this sets up Chestnut for a potential Frenzy Plant into Superpower Win Con. Chestnut calls the Grass Knot as well. Oh my goodness. And this is all over for the opponent. Frenzy Plant is shielded. It's a CMP tie. We're going to see the shield from the Chestnut. They do full send the Future Sight. Farming up. Oh, man. Has the Frenzy Plant going for a little bit of bad manners with the superpower. And that's game over. We see a very difficult lead in the next match. Chestnut and Golisopod. Golisopod beats this entire team, so this is going to be very interesting to see how they're able to play out of it. Going to shield up the first move, as Golisopod does have access to double super effective Aerial Ace, and unfortunately they are running it. Chestnut farming up and going for the Frenzy Plant. This is some heavy hitting neutral damage. Opponent lets it go, and we see the catch of the Aerial Ace onto Walrein. Very, very nicely done. As now, Walrein able to tank that energy no problem. Opponent is going to bank energy on Golisopod. They send in Steelix, and I really like this bait. Most Steelix players will shield the first move. And of course, this is the one exception. Oh no, the opponent lets it go, which is quite a surprise, but usually since Steelix is a Breaking Swipe user, shielding the first move makes quite a bit of sense. As of course, once you Breaking Swipe, future moves are going to be doing less. But it looks like this opponent is just fine with no shield in the Steelix. This Breaking Swipe will not KO. Walrein is going to be able to withstand this damage. Walrein gonna bank the Icicle Spear, send in the Chestnut. Chestnut now gonna go for the Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant will still get the KO here. Opponent commits the shield. So it looks like they may not have a good response to Chestnut in the back if they're now starting to shield the Steelix. Breaking Swipe will connect. Chestnut continuing to farm up. If they shield this, they've got to be so weak to Chestnut in the back. Let's see. Frenzy Plant is shielded. Yep, they are extremely weak to Chestnut in the back. Chestnut still gonna let this go, however, as unfortunately, if you shield, the Golisopod can just be brought in to KO the Chestnut, so you may as well just let the Chestnut go at this point. Superpower will get the KO. In the back, it's Tapu Fini. The Walrein still does have an Icicle Spear, but unfortunately that's not very helpful going up against Tapu. Tapu is going to be firing off the Surf into the Glalie. Glalie is going to no-shield. Glalie continuing to farm up. Do we see a potential catch from the opponent? No, they do not get the catch. We're going to see the Shadow Ball connect onto the Tapu. Shadow Ball does some solid damage, but this is where things could get a bit tough. Glalie commits the shield. Opponent has energy on the Golisopod, switching into the Walrein, and the opponent switches into the Golisopod and throws energy. And that should just mean this game is a win, as long as Glalie gets the Ice Shard down, which it does. The resisted Ice Shard down, leaving with the Shadow Ball loaded. Shadow Ball gets the Fini low, and the Ice Shards get a 1 HP win for the Glalie. Hopping to the next match, picking up a terrible lead, Chestnut into Pidgeot. Can't get much worse than that. We see a save switch into the Glalie this time, and the opponent is going to respond with Scrafty. Scrafty is going to be just going straight for power-up punches here. Just looking to boost up their attack as much as they possibly can. Glalie firing off the Avalanche. Avalanche will hit for some solid neutral damage here, and Scrafty is going to let that go. Glalie continuing to farm, just cannot make it to the Avalanche. Glalie commits the shield, so trying to get shields down here if at all possible. Glalie is going to be firing off this Avalanche. Avalanche will be shielded by the opponent, and now in comes Chestnut. Chestnut obviously has a massive health advantage here, but this is a double boosted Scrafty, so these counters are going to add up, and they go for the boosted foul play as well. That's extremely unfortunate. Chestnut gets the full farm down, leaves with a lot of energy. In comes the Pidgeot, gets off the superpower, but this is a double super effective wing attack. Gonna have to switch. In comes the Wall Rain. Pidgeot staying in this matchup, and they're just gonna go for the Feather Dance here. They have enough for the Brave Bird, but they're just gonna go for the Feather Dance. They want to ensure that whatever they have in the back has a better matchup. So Feather Dance will be no shielded. Icicle Spear will connect. In the back, it's Jellicent. And this is very tough for Wall Rain. However, the switch clocks are misaligned, and maybe there's an opportunity to take advantage. Shadow Ball connects. That does quite a lot of damage. Wall Rain firing off the Icicle Spear here. Understanding this energy isn't very useful, just trying to burn the switch clock. Looking for the switch into the Chestnut, and the opponent fires off energy, but this is absolutely worth shielding as the opponent's switch clock is not up, and we see the Frenzy Plant reached by the Chestnut. Frenzy Plant, massive super effective damage onto the Jellicent. Jellicent gets the farm down. Wall Rain going for the Icicle Spear. This should be lethal to the Jellicent, and all that's left in the back is the Pidgeot, and the Pidgeot is below half health. This is a super effective Icicle Spear. Will it KO? Yes, it will, and despite the Nightmare lead, still able to get the win. We see a Core Breaker on the lead in the next match. Chestnut into Cresselia. Cresselia does very well into both the Chestnut and the Wall Rain if it's running the Grass Knot, so this is going to be a bit difficult. Able to land the Frenzy Plant, farming up a ton of energy, and we see a switch and catch onto the GLALIE. That is quite nice, as the opponent actually went for a Grass Knot bait. Oh no, catching a bait is a very unfortunate feeling. In comes Steelix. Steelix going for the Breaking Swipe right away. GLALIE farming up and going for the Avalanche, but this is a debuffed Avalanche, and Steelix, when it's XL'd, is so bulky. Steelix able to withstand that damage. GLALIE only going to make it to one more move, so opting to go for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is going to connect onto the Steelix, but Steelix gets the farm down, and this match is looking very, very tough to win. Steelix just going to start spamming out Breaking Swipe after Breaking Swipe. Chestnut just cannot make it to the superpower before Breaking Swipe number 2. Breaking Swipe number 2 will connect. Chestnut farming up a ton of energy and going for the superpower. This will be lethal. Despite the fact that it's double debuff, the Steelix is just running out of HP, but this Cresselia is still going to be so difficult to get rid of, switching into the Wall Rain, but this Cress came in with so much energy here. They're just going to be able to fire off Grass Knot after Grass Knot in this matchup, and in the back, it's Poliwrath, and this is just looking like game over, unfortunately. Going for the Earthquake. Poliwrath commits the shield. Honestly, Poliwrath, can it get the farm down? It can. Oh, that is so unfortunate. Only able to make it to the Icicle Spear, and the opponent is counting. They know that that's not going to be enough for an Earthquake, and now this is just game over. Poliwrath goes for the Ice Punch. Chestnut, all the shields to hide behind, but it's still not going to matter as Poliwrath is able to grab both shields in a matter of moments with Ice Punches. Can fire off the Frenzy Plant here and get the KO, but in comes Cresselia with energy, and that's game over. Hopping into the final match, leading Chestnut into another Tapu Fini, an absolutely amazing lead. Opponent will immediately save switch into Shadow Wall Rain, and I love the decision to stay in here with the Chestnut and go for the Superpower. Due to the opponent's switch taking a turn, Superpower is reached one turn before the Icicle Spear, and now that you have a shield advantage, you can just send in your Wall Rain and pretty reliably keep switch. The opponent doesn't really have a reason to bait on the first one, and you don't really have a reason to bait back. They're very unlikely to double shield, considering they've already shielded once. So the Earthquake is going to be able to land, and now it's not quite spear range. We do see the Icicle Spear being thrown. I like committing to the Earthquake here. Committing to the Earthquake guarantees that you can either force the final shield or just win switch, whereas with the Spear, the opponent can actually no shield. They no shield. They bait with the Icicle Spear, and this is enough for the Quake. So now things are starting to get a bit interesting. We see the double shield. It is the Earthquake. In comes the Tapu Fini, but Tapu Fini up energy and up a shield. This is very playable for them, because they can just shield the Frenzy Plant, land the Moonblast, and then suddenly, this game is looking quite difficult. Tapu Fini is at the Moonblast. That's going to be goodbye to the Chestnut, and this is going to be tough. Back in comes the Wall Rain. Wall Rain just going for the Earthquake, trying to get as much damage as possible onto the Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini, no shields remaining. They just have to take that damage. Wall Rain trying to make it to the Icicle Spear. Can't quite get there. But Tapu Fini, a Surf is not going to KO here. Wall Rain is able to withstand that damage. Cannot make it to the Earthquake, but the Icicle Spear will help. And then it's all up to GLALIE to close this game. In comes GLALIE, and it's a Shadow GLISCOR in the back. Oh no, Mr. Opponent, what happened? Avalanche, double super effective damage. Get that GLISCOR out of here. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. all in all, these were some very fun battles to get to watch. And outside of getting to see XL GLALIE for the first time, I did really enjoy getting to see Chestnut in the Ultra League again. Unfortunately, Chestnut, its usage has dropped precipitously just due to the fact that Virizion basically does everything Chestnut does, but better. That double kick Sacred Sword combination is just absurdly powerful on the Swords of Justice, and then your choice of Leaf Blade, which is a very, very strong damage per energy move, or the coverage move of Stone Edge, just makes it very, very difficult to give up Virizion if you're looking for something to fill that niche of grass plus fighting coverage. When it comes to XL GLALIE, I think it's a very interesting Pokemon. The charge moves, of course, are amazing, but it is a bit let down by the fast moves. Considering it does have Avalanche and Shadow Ball, it would probably be better off served with a better energy generation fast move. Like, for example, in the Great League, we do see Frostlash with the same charge moves, but with Powder Snow. And with Powder Snow, that quicker energy generation works a bit better. Also, being a mono Ice type is quite rough defensively, as Ice just does not have a lot of resistances overall. But GLALIE does have some pretty interesting bulk, so in the grand scheme of things, with a potential moveset update, maybe including a higher energy generating fast move, it could see some interesting play in a future Ultra League limited meta. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.